Welcome to the 2025 Dallas ISD Athletic Hall of Fame. I'm Alexis Farrell, and I want to introduce to you an inductee of the Athletic Hall of Fame, Richmond Webb.
Alexis, how you doing, young lady?
I'm great. How are you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. Now, I have to mention that you were a great NFL player, so I meant to add that into your introduction.
Okay. That's okay.
Yes.
Yeah, actually great. I really had a great career. I'm very fortunate. Played 13 years in the NFL, 11 with Miami Dolphins, and my last 2 with Cincinnati Bengals, but that was a childhood dream, so I wouldn't trade it for a thing.
Well, I'm sitting here with a star. I just want to mention
I
that.
don't know about that. We'll roll with that for now. I'm going to let you make it with that.
All right, sounds good. So let's rewind and go back to growing up in Dallas and going to, before you even got to Roosevelt High School. Can we take it back a little bit and tell me how your childhood
You can take
was?
me all the way back. And,
All right.
Proud, went to elementary school at Roger Q. Mills Elementary School, and then, of course, the greatest middle school in DISD was Oliver Wendell Holmes. I'm a Tiger, and then finished up at the mighty Mustangs, Dallas Franklin D. Roosevelt High School.
How was it growing up in Dallas?
Growing up for Dallas, one thing I didn't have to worry about was growing. I was always pretty much a head taller than, most of the people in my class and this and that, but it's kind of changed now where I think before the neighborhood you lived in, that's what school you wanted to feed into, and you bought into the rivalries and stuff now, and I think the kids now, they just kind of go where they want to go, but it was all about, even when I was at Roger Q. Mills and Oliver Wendell Holmes, I stayed in, Roosevelt District, and that's the school that I look forward to attending and competing against the South Oak Cliff Bears. That was our arch rival back then.
So how did you even get into football? Were you playing in elementary?
I didn't actually play in elementary. Like I told you, I never had a problem growing. So I was always bigger than the kids. And if I wanted to play Little League football, it was always like a weight limit or whatever. So since I was bigger, I would have had to play with older kids. And my mom, she wasn't having that. I was still her baby. Let her tell it if she was still here. But I actually started my career at Oliver Wendell Holmes, and that's when I started playing organized football.
So your time at Holmes, right?
Mm-hmm.
You went, what, 6th, 7th, 8th grade there?
No, I'm old school, 7th and 8th.
7th, 8th.
Yep.
Okay, got it. So how can you describe how you developed, what position you were going to play, and all the things dealing with football there?
My first coach was Coach Washington at Oliver Wendell Holmes. And I remember this vividly. I remember going in the gym when we had to go take a physical, to make sure you could play and this and that. And I remember, I think it was he put on write on a piece of paper the positions you want to play. And I think I put like linebacker and running back on there, which I was neither one of those. And he looked at me and I guess he said, "You're going to be a tackle." So I always played offense and defensive tackle. I've been a lineman since I started, and that's how I finished. But it was a funny thing because I think back at the times and say, the glory position was like quarterback, running back, linebacker on defense. But I wrote that down. He was like, "Man, there's no way you're a lineman. You did it." So he put me in the right position, and that's where it started off at.
Awesome. And do you think they set you up pretty good for Roosevelt?
He was more right than I was. I'll say that because I know I wouldn't have had a long career running back or anything like that. So, yeah, he did me. I'm forever indebted to Coach Washington for putting me on the right track.
Awesome. Now we're over at Roosevelt, okay, JV. Talk about a little bit about that team dynamic.
Yeah, just great coaches. I first got there, I think my freshman year was Coach West and Coach Duff, and I had Coach Tripp. I moved to junior varsity, and that was like Coach Price, Coach James, and then I moved up to varsity, Coach Hawkins, Coach Miller, Coach Deerian, trying to make sure I'm not leaving off anybody. But we had about 8 or 9 coaches, and Coach Davis, which was my high school basketball coach. I had a lot of people instrumental in my development, but I played both ways, and then I think when I went to varsity, I was playing defensive end. I had a tremendous tribe with a lot of strong men, and stuff that really poured into us and developed us into who we were. And I attribute a ton of my success to those guys there because that's the foundation of who I am.
You were pretty awesome in the classroom as well. You graduated as salutatorian?
I did. That's one thing about my parents. In order to play sports, we had to keep our grades up, and that was it. And it transitioned even when I left Roosevelt on to Texas A&M.
Talk about this transition going from Roosevelt to A&M. Now that was pretty big, and like you said, I'm sure all of your team, your family, everybody was instrumental in getting you there. Was that your first choice?
That was my choice. I visited some of the top schools. Back then it was the Southwest Conference, so I visited Texas A&M, Texas, Oklahoma, Oklahoma State, Baylor, and SMU. And really had a lot of good visits, and it was a tough decision, but I eventually made the decision to go Texas A&M. The biggest adjustment was when I went to Texas A&M, and I was always one of the tallest people at Roosevelt when I was there, and I get to A&M, and then the upperclassmen come in, and it's like 5 or 6 guys. It's no big deal no more. So it's like I really had to. It was an humbling experience, but I had to really work to get on the field and this and that. And I think that's why we had success. I came team captain my senior year, and that was voted on by the players. So that meant a lot for my teammates to vote me. I think that highly of them to make me a captain. So that was pretty cool. We won 3 Southwest Conference championships and went to the Cotton Bowl 3 years in a row. So the level of competition was pretty high, but it also helped push me to become a better player.
So you find out that you're 9th pick, okay? What's your reaction? How are you feeling? Can you kind of describe the moment?
My phone rang, and so the phone was ringing, and so I picked it up, and I said, hello. He said, hey, Richmond, this is Don Shula. Are you ready to be a Dolphin? I said, yes, sir. And then I ended up being the 9th pick in the draft. So everything worked out well, but it wasn't easy. The effort is everything, and I had the right mindset. I got to do something that I never would have thought was just a dream as a kid, that I actually got to live it out. To even be considered with the amount of great players that played, it's an honor. I mean, I don't take it lightly. Anytime you make Hall of Fame, you're one of the best of the best, and so I'm overwhelmed. Nobody gets to where they are by themselves, and they played a very huge impact and instrumental piece and developed me into the person I am today.